I'd like to introduce you to something we call the Window of Life. This, by the way, is available as a free download as a printable poster that you can use in your place of work, worship, or education. You click on the link below this video and you'll be able to print this out. This is used with permission of Barron's from our book, Staying Alive, How to Act Fast and Survive Deadly Encounters. They've been willing to allow us to share this with people. The Window of Life is based on the way I was trained to survive deadly encounters as a police officer. I was trained, as every police officer and firefighter in America is, to take action and protect yourself so that you can in turn be able to protect others.
The first step is they should always protect themselves. And that always sounds very odd. Almost selfish. But again, it's very similar to whenever you fly an airplane and they tell you when the masks fall down, put yours on first, otherwise you'll be in no position to help your child or the person next to you. And that's kind of where we're coming from. By taking care of yourself, you're that primary asset to respond to whatever emergency there is. And removing that asset can make the situation worse instead of better.
There's a lot of debate right now about lockdowns and whether or not it's a failed concept and whether or not it works. And there's other concepts being talked about out there that are kind of alternatives to lockdown. And one of the things that people say is, well, a lockdown is cowardly. I want to take action. I want to do something rather than just cowering in fear or hiding in a dark room. That's really not a fair way of describing a lockdown. You know, the average lockdown in a school happens more than you would expect. They happen pretty frequently for low-level emergencies. And the average lockdown goes very well. They do it very quickly. They go and they turn off the lights and they shelter, and then the drill is over. It's really not as much about cowering in fear as just taking protective action.
Then you protect those in the immediate area. Then, if we can, if it's appropriate, we protect the place. For a school, this might be ordering a lockdown to protect 2,000 people from an individual with a weapon. Then, once those action steps have been quickly taken, we notify public safety. Now, this may sound counter to what we're typically taught, but it's no different than getting out of the way of traffic before we make a 911 call when we stop to render aid at an accident. And these steps, if we prepare properly, can often be done in mere seconds. As an example, a properly prepared school will have a safe room in the office area. Staff are trained and prepared to retreat to that safe room with a lockable door. So if there's an aggressor let's say there's someone shooting in the building, staff move to safety to that safe room in a matter of seconds. They take people from the office area perhaps with them, co-workers, or they direct them to shelter. Then, when they get in that room and they lock that door, they quickly order a lockdown because we've thought ahead of time to put that capability in that room. And that way now we protect the entire building.
A safe room is a place that you can secure yourself against an armed attacker or an aggressor until help can arrive. We look at places like a room with a good strong door that you can retreat to quickly and lock yourself in and call for help from that location. So somewhere that you would have a phone, self-service, some other means of getting communications out from that area, so then you can wait for help to arrive. If you're in a public place where you don't have control over that environment and you may not have access to a safe room, for example a movie theater, a large concert venue, public meeting halls, places like that, then you'd have to look at, are there areas where you can get in and secure yourself, for example a bathroom with a lockable door, or if that doesn't exist in the facility, then you'd want to think about how quickly could I get out of the facility. You might find safe places to hide along the way, safe places to shelter, but you'd also want to be constantly thinking about when can you then get out, when it's safe to do so.
We now call public safety. It's important to understand there's a police officer across the street from that school and they call 911 first. A lot of these people can be killed before the officer can ever arrive into the building in many cases to protect them. So we have to make sure we've thought this through as to what steps should be taken in what order.
What we do know is that when people try to fight back against an attacker, there's many cases where they're not successful and they're actually killed or injured immediately. In China, after a long series of knife attacks in schools, the state government, the national government, told all of their school staff and students, if you're attacked, fight back. That's the official policy. And within a very short period of this being their official policy, there was a story in the headlines where a man came in with a pair of scissors, attacking students and staff in a school. The principal went right up to confront him, and he was immediately stabbed in the head and killed. So he had no chance of protecting anyone else in that school. The school then no longer has a leader. We've seen in many other situations where people have tried to fight back and they're just injured. We've seen in real situations, drills, exercises. Now that's not to say there's not a time when you shouldn't fight back. If your life is in immediate danger and you feel like there's no other option, that may be the best course of action. If you have special training, for example, if you were in the military, you're a police officer, hand-to-hand combat, martial arts training. In the example with Abe and Aaron, he had no choice but to fight back, and he had martial arts training, and he did a very good job of using those skills.
There are situations where you should call 911 first, but in most life or death emergencies, there are other things you have to do to protect yourself and or other people. So the Window of Life graphic is available free as a download. Clicking on the link below this video, there's more information that's contained in other video podcasts we have, as well as in our new book, Staying Alive: How to Act Fast and Survive Deadly Encounters.